Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another rendition of Dual Dynasty, your WWE review show here on the BC Wrestle Pod Network conglomeration syndicate podcasting thing we do almost every single of the day, except for Thursdays, because forget Thursdays, except for this week. I am your host, Mikey. Joining me this mournful after surviving another, you know what? Forget it. I'm trying to put on performances. We're hot. We're mad. Like, there's a lot of things that need to be discussed today, but I am joined by the professor and the kilt man, the two sexiest bald men on the planet right now on the internet.
If we're setting the bar, check the bar.
The bar's very low.
The bar is no longer a bar. It's a shovel.
No. It's not a bar.
It's a pool, if you will. It's not so much a bar as it is a candy bar.
Ooh. Snickers?
Sorry, Mikey. Like we talked about before we started, it was hard to watch SmackDown just literally hours before, hearing all this just hours before. Like, that was brutal, but we'll talk about it.
We most certainly will. And speaking of bars being very low, WWE continues to disappoint me when it comes to these types of things. We'll give our full thoughts here in a little bit. But before we get into all that, if you are new here, thank you so much for tuning in. We review the wrestling of pretty much everything that you could possibly think of between the major federations of WWE, AEW, and, you know, I'll include TNA as like the big three promotions, to some of the smaller ones like GCW, Progress, CMLL, freaking Stardom, New Japan. We cover a bunch of stuff here. So if you like wrestling, we got you covered on a lot of things. And if you can't dedicate to watching a full review, whether it be live stream or edited, you can check out our social medias where you can see the crux of our thoughts and feelings of reviews by totally looking at these clips that will not come and haunt us down the future, as well as the report cards we do for everything here. I literally just uploaded a report card for Progress Wrestling Super Strong Style 16 tournament, day 1, as we got through the first 8 matches of the tournament. And that the second half will be tomorrow. It was a lot of fun. I've been up since 7 a.m. this morning. But you can also check out all that good stuff and, you know, say hi to us. We're friendly. At least I think we are. But with that out of the way, let's just get into it. So before we get into the Raw and the SmackDown and our predictions for Backlash, all right, let's talk about this. So over Friday afternoon/evening, we were met with another round of WWE releases and contracts not being renewed. People are like, why is this happening? And some people forgot that we already went through this at the beginning of January too, because this is the second time this year that WWE has had some major releases. So we're going to go over the names, and then we're going to talk over some stuff, and then we'll just get into it. So over the course of Friday, May 2nd, we had a total of 16 releases. So I'm going to start with main roster, and then I'm going to go over to NXT, and then we'll just chat. So over on main roster, the releases that we had included Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, and Shotzi was informed that her contract was not going to be renewed. So that one also hurt me as well. Then on the NXT side, so myself, Macho, and Will were a little perturbed. We had the releases of Danny Palmer, all 3 members of Gallus, so that includes Wolfgang and then Mark and Joe Coffey, Javier Barnell, Oro Mensa, Riley Osborne, one half of the Metaphor Girls, Jakara Jackson, the only Native American person on NXT being Eddie Thorpe on the roster, and then these 2 really hurt me, Gigi Dolan, and to my surprise, Cora Jade. I don't even know where to start. And this also comes the same week. Earlier in the week, we had 10 to 14 people in like the office positions be released as well. So,
yeah.
All right, boys, where do we start?
They're not bleeding money, right? They have billions of dollars.
They are generating money after money. Look at the freaking ticket prices, for crying out loud. I tried to go do, what was it, the next Saturday night main event, which was a 4-pack, because it gave you SmackDown, Saturday night main event, and then it gave you NXT, and then there was one other event, and I don't remember everything, and it was like $3,000 per ticket. And I'm like, you're not hurting for money. They don't have a way to keep these people relevant. Look at how many of Braun was going for a title run, and then he got he got put over for Jacob Fatu, which, yes, I love the fact that Jacob Fatu got the title run. But then they just dropped Braun, and he didn't have an appearance in Mania. He didn't have anything literally after that one match. And it's like, you dropped a guy who's been trying to put people over and help you out, who's been giving your all, and now you get, there's probably something behind the scenes that I don't know about, but it's frustrating for me because it's like, okay, you got this one big SOB who is a great tool for you to use.
You built a 3-hour SmackDown. You filled an hour and a half of it with ads and flashbacks from what happened last week. That's not gonna get people work and seen. I know we'll get to it briefly. There was like an 8-minute gap in between Jade's entrance until we saw Tiffany Stratton. There was 8 minutes. There was 2 bumpers and 7 minutes of commercials. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, sorry, that's besides the point. ITR Wrestling was reporting that Braun Strowman's salary was actually really, really high, and they never renegotiated it for how much he was being used. Because there was about a year we didn't really see Braun Strowman. And then we saw him every week for the last few months. He had an LA Knight thing. Or no, not LA Knight thing. There's a handful of things that he got used for, right?
Yeah, he put over Bronson Reed.
He put over Bronson Reed. Did everything he needed. Did everything a company man you would want him to do. The fact that the other story that's come out of that since then is the last few years of his life where he had a horrible breakup with Raquel. He loses his best friend and brother in Bray Wyatt. He gets cut from this company. He has neck surgery. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with him. Of course, we only hear one side of it. We don't know. Maybe they want him to take that time away. Maybe there's something else that we're not seeing. I don't know. I never felt like he was, wasn't taking care of anybody. What's hard is you get into the, what's your hook? I slap man meat. Great. What else do you do? And I do think Triple H is trying to move more towards the cinematic. He's looking for wrestlers who can act and who have that sort of skill. And that's not a knock on anybody, but there's a certain polish and a certain style that he wants to see as the previous regime wanted. Are you 6'8"? Can you walk in front of people? Great. You're hired. Now there's something else that I think he wants to shift to. I still think it's awful. The storylines are not there. They're not using everything they could be, I guess. And it's easy over here to pontificate because we're not there. I'm just mad about Shotzi. I think Shotzi deserved to be there longer, forever. She's a cheap team player. Her father passed away. She came back anyway. She did the whole, I'm going to cut my hair for my sister thing, and she left for a little while. I think they did it right. They kept her to the end of the contract. They let her go to the Hall of Fame. Like, they did try to treat her right in the end. I think that's really unfortunate. You let an indie star kind of like Shotzi go the way they did. And then NXT, it just sounds like they're making room for this LFG or whatever it is group, right? They just want to push people around a little bit and see how that's going to go in the future.
So I want to speak on that really quickly, right? Because
sure. And then what's her name? Danny's saying she's going to quit wrestling, like she's done. And then there was someone else who was saying, I don't know if I want to come back after that. Like, that's hard on these young talents.
For reals. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Making people not want to come. So really quickly, I want to talk about main roster stuff. Of course, it sucks that everybody, like all the people on main roster that got let go, lost their jobs essentially. And I felt bad. The one that really hurt me the most, though, because there's so much untapped potential. Well, the two that hurt the most for me for main roster, of course, was Shayna Baszler and Dakota Kai. Like, you could have had Dakota be your first women's intercontinental champion. That is Lyra. Finally, we gave Lyra something with Becky. But Dakota, it's crazy to me that Dakota got released. Then Triple H brought her back 2 years ago. And then now she's no longer here with the company a second time.
And then she got hurt, took a bunch of time off. Damage Control came back. She had like 2 matches and then we never saw her again. Right? Like, basically, like, what the hell?
She was, and we've been missing her for a while. So she clarified she wasn't, it's funny. She clarified that she wasn't hurt and she's being benched. And then it was funny that Nick Khan came out immediately on that saying that we don't bench people. And then thus we see. So I'm going to get into NXT now. And then Shayna, like, it hurts me because I'm like, you had her dominate NXT and then she's kind of been lost in the shuffle. And despite the match not being very good, Shayna is also untapped potential, and then you just don't want to. Anyways, NXT is where things kind of got crazy for me because also NXT and then WWE's Evolve, the way that they're setting everything up in the hierarchy now of you go to Evolve, which is like the developmental for the developmental. These are where all your WWE ID folks are there. But it's crazy to me because I'm like, you have the Gallus boys there. Of course, this is all pre-tape, but they got let go. They're supposed to have a match this Wednesday. Don't know how it's going to turn out. Osborne got sent to Evolve, and then now he's gone. It just sucks for everybody involved. The four that hurt the most for me is one, of course, and then also I don't want to play politics into all of this too, but somebody pointed this out on the internet, and one of the hosts pointed it out, that both on main roster and NXT, a lot of the folks that got released were people of color. Also, those within the LGBTQIA plus community or allies of said community. I'm not a full-blown conspiracy theorist, but...
Well, you got a very, very conservative company. Very, very conservative company.
Right. But the four that hurt me the most was, number one, Jakara Jackson. I'm like, why are we broke? This past Tuesday on NXT, we broke up her and Lash as a tag team, which I'm like, why? You need more women's tag teams. We barely have enough women's tag teams across the three brands. Not only did you break them up, but I'm just like, just kill the women's tag team titles. Like, they're dead. Liv and Raquel, you've given them nobody else to face now. Like, what is happening? It is wild. I'm very sad for Eddie Thorpe because he's the only Native American person on this roster, and we were doing cool things with him, and now he's gone. Hopefully he goes back to New Japan. The two that blew my mind was number one, Gigi, because we've been seeing her a lot recently on NXT, and now she's gone. But the one that blows my mind is Cora Jade. I know she got hurt and she was out for a year, but like, she was just at Stand and Deliver. What you mean she's no longer in the company? And then, of course, take this with a grain of salt. Of course, Dave Meltzer opens his big mouth, and then everybody's coming after him, saying that the people that were let go, especially in NXT, weren't training hard enough in training. And then Gigi and Cora were clapping back at that immediately. Baffles me because I'm like, how do you have somebody like CM Punk be 100% behind you, push you, like say nothing but good things about you, and then you're gone? I'm like, what?
It's strange, right? I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason to it. I don't know if I'm trying to look at the risk aboard, like the bigger meta picture of it. You just acquired AAA, and now you're letting go a bunch of folks. Like, I mean, unless you're adding one more show or one more thing somewhere, you got to find room for all these people, sure. And what's harder is the other organizations, not to invoke them on this podcast. AEW has no space. I mean, GCW will take anybody, so you can go fight over there anytime. Shayna already knows those folks. But these other promotions, like, there's no space. And other outlets are reporting this and talking about this too. It's a great time to become a professional wrestler. It's totally different than it was 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, right? You have a lot of options. People are watching for talent all over the place. But now, just like other industries, voiceover, acting, other things like that, everyone's in the pool. How are you going to make yourself different?
Right. And so my whole thing is that I think so here's the thing. I don't want Tony Khan to pick up a lot of these talents because he already has a bloated roster. But
he's not using.
Right. But if he is going to sign people, the two I think that would do very well in AEW, especially because they got friends over there, is Dakota Kai. I think would be great in AEW. Sure. But Shayna Baszler, have her and Marina Shafir fight it out like all the time. That'd be great. Sure. Braun Strowman could go to GCW. We always need more big, like, monster people in GCW because we don't have a lot of those. And even though they have a partnership with NXT, I would love to see Kate and Katana tag team.
Yeah.
Jakara, Gigi, all of them go to TNA because I just saw them on TNA television within the last 2 weeks. Jakara and Lash were at the Rebellion pay-per-view, and Freaky, so was Gigi as well. Like, they were at the Rebellion pay-per-view. Like, they had a match for the tag team championships. Here, this is how I'm going to end this and saying all this, because we do this every time. And, as a fan, I have to separate my personal feelings from the overall things. Otherwise, they say it's for budget expenses. I'm like, you just had like a 4.5 million gate for WrestleMania. You mean to tell, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
I want to address what I'm about to say to, everybody here at BC Wrestle Pod and the IWC as a whole. You can sit with your feelings right now. It is okay to be mad at WWE. You have a right to as a fan. However, if you truly want to see change, you hit the federation where it hurts, and that is they pockets. So if you say you're upset, but you gonna still give your money to then you're kind of defeating the purpose. However, what I'll say is that if you truly want to make a difference for all the people that get released, make sure you buy their t-shirts when their non-competes are up, support them wherever they go, like interact with them now that they are no longer with this federation. Put your money where your mouth is and support these people because they out here trying to make a living, and it's a scary world out here. So that is all I have to say on that.
Yeah. And we can move on from this. We have a company like WWE. They don't make their money on wrestling anymore. Their money is TV deals, corporation deals, Prime. That's their money. Shareholders, stockholders moving big money around that we will never see. So there's this illusion that it's a wrestling company. It's not. It's a bunch of billionaires and Saudi influenced folks. Now you're playing the late stage capitalism game. Be a fan of the wrestler, which is why some of the folks here at Bi-Conics refuse to watch it. And it totally makes sense to me. Luckily, I'm not giving them my money directly. So no, and refuse to. I can't mortgage my house to go get tickets to SmackDown. It's not going to happen.
It's wild to me. I'm very surprised. You know, I say all this and then I'm mad because I was so excited and now I sound like a hypocrite because because I'm going in June to go see, you know, the NXT and AAA Worlds Collide show, which should be fun. And then, you know, I'm going to see Money in the Bank, but I was like, you WWE, you make it harder for me to want to continue to be a fan. Like,
I think your heart's in the right place. I have the same thing with certain sports teams, not to go down this tangent because we got to talk about other stuff. I have problems with certain sports teams and certain folks, but I like the player, or I find a way to indirectly support those folks. I think you going for the reasons you're going, sure, yeah. But the last thing I'll say is I hope Shotzi and Shanna end up over in AEW because I think they would kill it over there. I definitely think that would be that's her scene for sure. Megan Bayne and Shayna. Oh my God, all day, right? Like there's some matches to be made there if they hit it. Those are the ones that make sense to me.
But let's talk about Raw and SmackDown this week. Raw had a better fair showing of the week. I enjoyed Raw. I think it's crazy to me, and again, because I think it's because of that Netflix deal that they want Raw to be the flagship show, and poor SmackDown's getting everything that is left over, which we'll get to. But Raw kicked off this week, where we have our newest faction of Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, and Braun Breaker. Mostly Seth and Braun talking about lots of things. And you know what? We are going back to what I actually really dug, like during the 2010 SmackDown era, where we start off with the story hook. Sammy comes out to interrupt. You know, he doesn't agree with what Seth is doing. Seth is basically placating, like, I am not the monster, without realizing that he became the monster that he truly hates, which is a lot of fun. And you know what? Seth loves Sammy. They're friends. Their children play together. Like, there's that very deep bond that they have. And Seth's like, hey, Paul Heyman's going to talk to you. Like, I need you to, you know, not be in my way, but I want to give you a chance. And so talk to Paul Heyman, see what he has to say. And I want your answer by the end of the show. So we're going to revisit this when we get to the end. I'm like, I've missed this about the WWE programming. I love when we start with the story hook and then we come back around to it at the end of the show. I'm like, narrative focus making sense. Like, you actually have a story hook and actually revisit it. You don't give us a story plot and then never talk about it again. So thank you, Raw, for at least doing that. So we're going to come back to this at the end of the show because choices were made. We kick things off with our first match, though, and a very fantastic match, Rhea Ripley versus Roxanne Perez. It is official for her because it has been a week where she is now on the main roster, but her best friend just got let go, too, later in the week. So, poor Roxanne, I love you. And Rhea Ripley and Roxanne Perez, both of them had a fantastic match. We do end up getting a DQ, though, because why not? But I was not upset about it because we get a DQ from Julia, who comes over and beats up on Rhea Ripley. We are continuing to tell the story between Rhea, Roxanne, Julia, and then Io comes out for the save. So we're probably going to get a tag team match coming out. It's also been reported that Julia may or may not be on main roster too now. So good on them. I actually like this. This was great. This was fun.
I'm happy for Roxanne. I heard that this match was actually fantastic. I might go back and watch Raw if I have time, but I'm happy for her, but like you said, that's a tough week to be happy for anybody.
Again, this was in the beginning of the week too. So this was all happening on Monday, and then we'll get to Friday. Logan versus Jay is made. That is all I have to say, and I am not happy about it. Moving on. Jay, I love you. I'm sorry that this is your first big feud. The Judgment Day girls are still fighting. But this time, JD McForehead is back. I love him. JD's back. Nobody's cluing in Finn. Finn is like Finn is that friend in the group chat that everybody that we're all friends, or supposedly we are all friends, but he's always the last one to find out information, and no one has the heart to tell him, hey, we don't want to be friends with you no more. They're kind of just putting up with it. And so Finn is about to be ousted from this group. When? We still don't know, because we've been playing this angle for months now.
They've ruined this angle. They needed to pull this trigger back when it was Dom and Liv and
I
Rhea.
thought we were done at Mania. I was like, when Dom
I believe we're
pinned
still
him.
here. They threw in JD into this super late in the arc of the playwriting or novel writing, whatever you want.
To be fair, he did have a whole punctured lung and everything, so he was out for a little bit.
But now you're just giving him nothing to do. Like,
we're also going to talk about Judgment Day when we get that talk between Nick Aldis and AJ too, because this also does not help Judgment Day's story progression, but we'll get into there. But yeah, poor Finn is that person in the group chat that nobody has the heart to kick him out because they don't want to. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They don't want to be the bad guy, but somebody's got to be the bad guy.
But wait, isn't JD McDonough no longer part of the Judgment Day because he lost to R-Truth?
Again,
I'm sorry, I have to bring that storyline up because it went nowhere. It pissed me off that it went nowhere.
Again, I talked about how WWE actually does good storytelling, and then they also show us in the same night that they just dropped the story angle because why not? R-Truth though listen, I am going to manifest this when we get to SmackDown because R-Truth is probably the best thing right now of this week's SmackDown because I want it to manifest into something which we'll talk about. But poor Finn, we'll talk about you, Judgment Day, later in the show. Penta is him. I want to be Penta when I grow up and just be doing the Penta walk on the table just because I can. Which, yeah, the War Raiders and Judgment Day do have a tag team match. War Raiders win. Cool. Penta's out here fighting fools left and right, so Penta's feuding with the Judgment Day. I ain't mad at it. Or is he? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I need New Day on commentary every week because they just be roasting everybody, which is great. They were roasting the crap out of Judgment Day and the War Raiders. It was phenomenal.
Good.
I'm happy to see that Kofi and Xavier are finally getting back to where we need them to be. But yeah, Penta walking across the table. Love you. It's great. Sammy, don't do it. He has this meeting with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman offers him a chance to go after John Cena and the undisputed WWE Championship. But that means that Paul Heyman wants Sammy to move to SmackDown. It's like she's always constantly putting women over, even when she has personal beef with them. Like, despite her and Charlotte having real life fire during their feud leading into Survivor Series 2021, Becky still did the thing, and Becky still went, everything. I'm tired of people saying that Becky is related to Hogan because that is not the case. How dare you?
Who said that?
The internet.
No. Idiots.
I blame poor booking because there was no reason for Becky and Lyra to win those tag championships at WrestleMania.
It's a strange choice.
Only for Liv and Raquel to win them back the next night. I mean,
I don't want to go full conspiracy theory, and this is for a different podcast. I don't want you to get too. But the booking has gotten weirder. The results have gotten stranger, and the DQs are everywhere now that DraftKings is as involved as they are.
It's wild to me. I actually did like this promo from Becky because, she admitted, she's like, yeah, I took out Bayley. And I was like, there we go. This is the heat that I know that she is a heel, but you cannot. It's funny how the internet looks at Becky one way, but of course, me and the rest of the fans that watch the product, you can't make me boo Becky. You're never going to make me boo Becky. She is fantastic. Even though it was all over the place, I loved her feud when she had it with Trish Stratus before she went on hiatus and everything. It was fantastic.
Folks forget wrestling's, I don't want to say not real, that it's scripted.
There are multiple facets and multiple layers to how you view a wrestling product.
Yeah, and some folks really look at it at that superficial level, and it's like, come on, what are you doing? Anyway.
For reals. But Becky gets on the mic where she says that she's tired of people like Bayley, and she actually brings up facts that Bayley, for the last 2 years before Becky went on a hiatus with Damage Control, attacked her constantly. And so that was just a lick back. And you know what? She deserves to be, not deserves, she is championship material and she shouldn't have to continue to prove herself in front of the fans. She gave us a little bit of the You People promo, but in a way that didn't make me upset because I'm like, yeah, because people are being rude to Becky on the internet and saying that she doesn't put over talent. When you mean to tell me that she's entering this feud with one of her students, Lyra does come out. She does state that it's here to be the first Lyra Valkyria. And you know what? Lyra's not dumb either. She's just like, I know what you're doing. You're saying all this because you want this match. Okay, so I'm going to give it to you. But Becky's like, no. And then Lyra's like, all right, be a wuss and run away. And then, we get confirmation later that is going to be Becky and Lyra for that Intercontinental Championship at Backlash, which is like one of the 2 matches of the 4 that we have announced so far that I'm actually really excited about. So we're getting Becky and Lyra at Backlash. More on those predictions later. Because first, Penta is going to get attacked by El Grande Americano Latte. You know what? I just accept my fate, and we're going to see where it goes. So yeah, his shirt says El Grande Americano is like numero uno.
Yeah, that's funny. We'll see what happens with this. I hope they don't play it out too long, but it's still fun for now.
I also like that we got a little bit of preview of what made Penta fun, where he's just like, oh, okay, you gonna make me mad? I'm gonna break your arm backstage. Like, don't toy with me. I was like, Angry Penta is fun Penta too. Yeah. So love that. Rusev is here again, and he's kind of playing the Redeemer character here in WWE. I was just like, okay, we'll see where it goes. Don't mess this up, WWE, which is crazy. I wanted him to feud with Braun, but that's not going to happen anymore. But as of Monday, I thought that was still a possibility.
We'll see. I have my questions when we get to Aleister Black, but we'll see.
Yeah, so very interesting. Is very okay with it, taking more of Ivy's stiffer wrestling shots because, of course, Stephanie has wrestled in CMLL and in that New Japan style, too. So this was my favorite match on Raw. I don't care what anybody says. This is great. I love both of these women. Great. Stephanie does pick up the victory here. And thankfully, Booker T was not on this show because she does her famous move. And I was just like, Booker, we know why you're here. That's okay. Damn it. I know. But I would not be surprised to see Stephanie be up on this main roster by the summer. Not even going to lie. I think she's losing her championship at Battleground. And we're either going to see if it's Julia or Jordan Grace who's going to take that title from her at Battleground. Stephanie is ready. I'm going to be honest, though. Put her on SmackDown. I feel like the women's division, not to say needs help, but we are running into a wall with who we're getting Tiffany to face.
We have no plot lines over on SmackDown.
Would be amazing. That is true. That is also a scary thing.
You could have moved Shayna and Shotzi over to SmackDown and you would have solved 90% of your women's division problems. In my opinion,
that's what I said.
Different booking, you would have different stories. You would have had a totally different dynamic. You would have I'm gonna say this kindly, 2 dirtier girls, 2 anti-culture girls, totally opposite.
They're the alt girls of wrestling. Yes,
the alt girl thing. Like anyway. Yeah,
but Stephanie, Ivy, favorite match of Raw. Don't care what anybody else says. Liv, I'm so happy that you're acting, but girl, this also means that those tag team championships are going bye-bye until you come back. So now I'm just like, why?
She's acting in something? Is that what's happening?
It was reported earlier this week that Liv is out to go film a movie. I think it's Bad Detective Tokyo, I think is what it's called. But it's like an actual like role, which I'm happy for her. I was like, you go, Liv. This is not the first time Liv is acting. She was like a reoccurring guest character on the Chucky TV series on Sci-Fi. She got murderized on TV. It was kind of great. I love it. I never want to be against people like doing things and getting these opportunities. I'm not even mad at Raquel and Liv. I'm mad at booking because this whole roundabout for these women's tag team champions, you make Liv and Raquel lose them, then they get them back the next day, and then not even a week later, we're probably not going to see these things defended until Liv comes back to defend them. And who knows what's going to happen with Raquel too. That's the other thing. Just throw either, you know what? I'm not even going to say throw it. I am still of the mindset that you should never have unified the main roster and the NXT women's tag team championships. Put those titles back on an NXT tag team. At least there's multiple women's tag teams down there. You can use them, but who knows for how long.
Why is AJ Styles here?
So AJ's here because he was talking to Nick Aldis, figuring out what his next step is after beating Karrion Kross. So honestly, if this leads to Dominic versus AJ in a feud, I am not upset about that. But I'm just like, AJ is like the third wheel in this whole entire segment. Not even gonna lie.
Or AJ. I think AJ was ready to retire until Backlash in France went so well, and then he went, I'll stick around a little while.
Why not? Shout out to Nick Aldis because Adam Pearce could not be there for whatever reason, so Nick Aldis was put in
I just did a double take, by the way. Like, wait a second.
Nick Aldis out here actually not creating chaos is crazy, but I do like Adam Pearce as GM because he creates chaos, and I love me some chaos sometimes. Good. But yeah, Liv, I'm happy for you. Those championships, though, booking did y'all dirty. AJ versus Dominic, you have me intrigued. Pat McAfee takes way too long to tell us that he's going to have a match against Gunther. That is all that this segment was. Don't need to discuss it any further. And if the rumors are true, I'm not looking forward to this backlash because this is where we're going to see the return of Oldsberg, which makes me not happy.
Are you serious? It's going to happen?
The rumor is that Gunther is going to retire Goldberg, and I'm not here for that.
I've been making that joke for 2 years. I can't make that joke anymore if it's actually going to happen.
I don't want it to be Oldberg.
Useless. It could have been Braun Breaker and Gunther. That would have been so much better.
Braun Gunther would have been
not a Braun Breaker, a Braun and Gunther. That would have been a better.
That would have been.
There are so many other people that, because to me, I'm just like, either Pat McAfee's not actually going to wrestle or he going to get the piss beat out of him, but then someone's going to come save him. I don't want it to be Goldberg. I know he's not ready. I don't know how ready he is, but I'd rather be the person that I would rather have the person to come and save Pat McAfee or to take Pat McAfee's place be Ilya. Ilya v. Gunther is something I want to see again. I don't care. But yeah, we're making questionable choices.
I hope it's not Goldberg.
I hope it's not Goldberg, but if not, if it is Goldberg, we're in for a very long summer, y'all. And I don't know if we're gonna make we gonna make it. We're gonna try and make it.
They're not. Well, they're gonna do what they did in the Royal Rumble. Like, so and so's hurt. We need someone to step in right now. Who's it gonna be? And then it's the done. I don't think Goldberg could go. 5 years ago, maybe.
Nah.
That him and the Undertaker in Saudi was terrible. I don't know, man. I hope that's not true.
We'll see what happens.
I think it was, what was it? It was, what's his name? Regal. I can't remember his first name, but Regal had a match with Goldberg. William Regal, yeah.
William Regal, and just embarrassed him?
It's like William Regal was trying to hold him and trying to like carry him the entire way. And it's like, Goldberg can't wrestle. He's just some figure, and that's it. And it's like, it's stupid to have him as this.
Yeah. Well, this is also stupid too. Logan Paul attacks Jay backstage. Yeet. And we move on because Sammy gives his answer. He tells Seth no, which then brings a whole improv match between Braun Breaker. Curb stomp Sami Zayn is how we end Raw.
Why?
Beginning was great. And I was just like, I'm intrigued because this is perpetuate again. We're getting the true heel architect as Seth back. Also, apparently that coat is like $15,000, which I'm like, Seth, if you get like ketchup on that thing, it's like, yes, doggo, I agree. Like the beginning.
The dog is very angry about it.
Be like, love the beginning, love the ending of Raw. Middle was up and down.
I hope they do something with it. I can't see why we're doing Sammy Seth. It seems like the storyline's pretty good, but we'll see.
We'll see. All right, SmackDown. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off because, even if we put aside the releases happening during the show, you were all over the place. This was
not great.
This was a fillery. So let's just get into it. Yeah. LA Knight and Damian Priest have a promo battle talking about their losses at Mania. I do like them on the mic. This was just a long segment to get into the match, which we don't even get a actual conclusion of because Solo and Jacob come in to cause a disqualification. So
there was no reason for any of this.
No.
Didn't make any sense. Opening. I know they're trying to set up a fatal four-way. Again, I'm tired of fatal four-ways. I don't need to see another one. I like you said, I like the two of them on the mic. I think they're great on the mic. I had no problem with them on the mic. But the fact that the first 30 seconds were, I have no problem with you. I don't really have a problem with you either. Great.
Let's fight.
Why are we here? What are we doing?
I was like, that
could have been built totally differently. Such a weird way to start. And it just felt awkward this set an awkward tone for the next too many hours that we were watching.
For reals. Now, when we do our predictions, I'm actually really excited for the match we're getting that involves some of these folks. But I feel like even though it was a 2-week time period, there could have been better ways to get to it. But, we'll talk about that when we get to Backlash. Fraxium and Pretty Deadly had a really fun match. Fraxium racks up another win, which I'm excited for. We're probably going to get them in the Profits down the line at some point, which I'm excited for. But poor Pretty Deadly. But I'm not as scared for the tag team division on SmackDown than I am for Raw. At least SmackDown has been doing constantly great things with all the tag teams that they have. So Fraxium, Nathan, Axiom for the second week in a row, get a win against Pretty Deadly. This was a fun match. I loved it. It was great. Chelsea, I love you so much. You are the best thing to happen in terms of character-wise for WWE related. She's out here dressed like she's mourning, going to a funeral. She talks to Nick in this backstage segment of wanting to get a rematch for her United States Championship. But Nick Aldis gives Piper Niven a shot, and if Piper Niven can beat Zelina tonight, then, Piper will be number one contender for the Women's United States Championship. And then Chelsea passes out like she a black lady in church. I loved it. It was ridiculous.
I love that none of them are American and they're all in this USA Championship, whatever it is, thing. Like, that's brilliant. I love that how Nick Aldis is playing all that.
Nick made me laugh so hard. It was just like, I'm not American and neither are you, you.
Yeah. It's brilliant. And then Selena Vega, like, it's just, this is fun. I think Chelsea and her secret service, I'm sorry, I can't think of the word. They're funny enough to play this forever. Like, they know how to do this sketch comedy type thing. Everything else is on SmackDown is just falling apart left and right. Like, where are we going? What are we doing? It seems like since WrestleMania, everyone just kind of went, yeah, blow it up. It's like, whoa, what are we doing?
Yeah. So Chelsea, you and your Secret Service are like one of the best things going on for main roster characters on WWE. Not even gonna lie.
Yeah, the She-Harvest.
Secret Harvest is fantastic.
That's what it is supposed to be, from what I remember. Because I remember the harvest part, but it's still a great bit, and I have to agree. I want to continue this.
It's such a dichotomy with the SmackDown Women's division because this. Okay, so let me just get into this. Jade's like, I want to fight you, Tiffany. Tiffany's like, okay, bet. Naomi, does your back hurt, girl? Because you were carrying this whole entire segment. Not even gonna lie. I also loved it too. She's just playing this heel character so much fun. She's like, listen, she says, no, I want a shot at your championship, Tiffany, and I don't mind pushing Jade out the way. Heck, I'll even run her over with the car again if I need to. I'm like, damn, Naomi. We're just going after Jade like that. Loved it. Of course, Nia also has unfinished business. Tiffany and Jay try to interrupt Naomi. Naomi's like, don't interrupt me because I'll fight you. This sets up our main event where Tiffy Time and Jade are going to be going up against Naomi and Nia Jax. So, but I will say, before Naomi got there, this is a very clunky segment promo. And I'm just like, what are we doing with these women?
We're just throwing random people together to make things happen. I thought Nia Tiffany was done, and now we've kind of reintroduced it. Jade's here because she was backstage. This is just messy. You could have done this 100 different ways. You have 3 hours to build story. You didn't. You just threw stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know what we're doing. We're going to revisit this when we get to the main event, because first, let me talk about this, though. I need Miz to give some flowers here, because Miz is always fantastic, and he sells very well. He sold that black mask so well. This was actually a fun match, and I am actually excited for the prospect of a Carmelo Hayes Aleister Black match / feud. I'm just hoping that we can give Aleister something more. I am happy he is back again. This is only week 2, but I'm hoping that this will be a substantial feud, not just for Aleister, but finally giving Carmelo something of substance to do outside of, hanging out with Miz and having that 7 out of 5,000, sequence with Andrade.
No, I agree. I love the Miz. I think the Miz knows his role in the company and has served it for 20 plus years, right? He makes other folks look great. He made Aleister Black look amazing. I kind of want more from what they're doing for Aleister Black in the same way that you're saying. It's just sort of, hey, he's here. He rises from the dead with candles. Go. We're not seeing any other build or any other mystique to it, just that he's mysterious and does some beautiful kicks. Sorry, dog's eating things right in front of me and I can't stop them. Some of those knees Aleister Black throws are just devastating. Like, he are full on like, oh, you are now dead. And the Miz sold them beautifully. The dexterity is on display. I almost think Aleister Black is too athletic for some of the stuff he was doing. Every time he jumps twice, similar to Braun, twice as far than he needs to. He spins twice as fast as he needs to. I love seeing him there. I do want more for him. I hope we're getting it. I'm nervous now that we've cut so many people too.
For reals. So hopefully, again, I want to see Mello and Aleister go at it. Shoot, if you ain't planning to have anything for Mello and Aleister, give me Andrade and Aleister. Run that back. But Andrade might be busy with something else, which I also don't like when we're going to talk about it when we get to that part of the show. Because once again, WWE just has all the Latinos fighting each other, and I don't know why. But anyways, speaking of which, listen, I actually really like this backstage encounter between Santos and Rey. This ultimately just sets up a match between the two later in the show. I mean, I'm not mad. This is Lucha Libre right here, because these two fight each other in Mexico all the time too. So yeah, well, I was excited. I should have known better. Zelina beats Piper, and I love the physical comedy aspect of Zelina and how tiny she is. Doing a bridge on Piper Niven of all people too, which was fantastic. Get a lot of credit. I actually enjoyed this match. This was fun after Piper accidentally hits Chelsea and Chelsea selling it beautifully. Loved it. Love her. This was fun. I will say this is one of the few parts of SmackDown I enjoy. I was like, yeah, I'm okay with Zelina fighting Chelsea and her, whole entire squad for a little bit. I ain't mad at it. You go, Zelina. I loved you. This is where we get the official confirmation that it is a fatal 4-way for that United States Championship match, which is going to slap. It's just very weird that one of the people involved in that fatal 4-way was not mentioned, didn't have a pre-tape promo, anything on the show for SmackDown. We'll talk about it a little bit. Yes, all hail Queen Zelina. Love that. Randy Orton actually made me excited for this match against John Cena by cutting this promo, but Randy Orton is a consummate professional. And now this match is being touted as one last time. I was like, I love you, Randy. You're not walking out of St. Louis as this champion, unfortunately.
Yeah, the writing's on the wall for this. I mean,
promo was fun though.
Really solid promo for something that I didn't think I would care about. Something that I was like, okay, but he made me interested. I'm not saying they can't bring it. I'm just Cena didn't look like Cena last time we saw him. I don't know what this is going to look like. It should be interesting.
That it will be. So should be interesting for sure. I was pretty decently excited. Now I'm just like, oh, this could be a fun match at Backlash. R-Truth needs to be the savior of John Cena's darkness. I need R-Truth to bring John Cena back into the light.
It's got to be R-Truth holding a Make-A-Wish kid in a wheelchair. But John, no! And something, something that brings John back from the depths. But what is that thing that is John's call to action? That remains to be seen.
That is very, very true. But I love R-Truth. He is we don't deserve him. I love you, R-Truth. You are fantastic. This was a decent match. Again, though, I don't like where we're heading. Just throw all the Latinos and have them start fighting each other, because why not? I have nothing more to say. This was a pretty fun match. It was decent. We kind of just disorganized, told this. I was just like, we were told that Nia and Jade were going to have a #1 contendership next SmackDown, and then winner will go on to face Tiffy for the title. And I'm just like, I feel the order of events did not go the way that it needed to. Honestly, I was like, we told the events out of the order. We got a tag team match.
Very much so, yeah.
But we find out there's a #1 contenders match next week. I was like, I feel like we should have had the #1 contendership match first, have it be a schmoz because Naomi and Tiffany get involved, then have the tag team match next week, and then go from there. But no, I didn't. This backstage segment, did not care about that.
This got weird. They had a chance. They had a window to pull Legado apart with Andrade, and now it just looks like Andrade's meddling. It's not coming off the way I think they should. Frankly, I'm gonna say this: they should let Andrade do it all in Spanish. He's really struggling.
Yes, let him do it in Spanish.
Let all four of them go heads up in Spanish, go full, and just let it happen, right?
Just put the subtitles on so we can understand.
You need a telenovela feel. Put it in a grandma's kitchen. Make it happen.
Go back to the Olive Garden that Legado was in, when they first got to.
I mean, we
need the dramatic wind machine.
Andrade's fantastic. I'm not saying he can't get a promo. I think he's stuck in these scenarios where it's just like, hey, go wing it. Talk about this. And it's not that he doesn't have the language. It's that he's having a hard time coming up with it quickly when these happen. And it doesn't do him justice.
Nobody is thriving right now in this whole thing.
And if you break this up, which, by the way, where the hell's LWO? What's going on?
I know Ray is out, but you still got Joaquin and Cruz out here somewhere, and Dragon Lee and all
what are we doing?
This is wild. I think they're on Raw, but that's besides the point. Anyways, we move on because why not?
Okay, so I'll say this quickly because we got to move on. I did not hate. I thought they were great. Tiffany's always fantastic. Nia has improved a lot. And Nia also looks like she's cut a chunk of weight too. She's moving faster. She's moving better. Naomi kind of saves this, in my opinion. Twice, I thought Jade killed Nia. The first one, I can't remember. Look, there was a shot somewhere, and I was like, oh my God, that landed really flush. And then we get to that powerbomb, whatever thing, where she picks up Nia Jax from the thing, drops her right on her tailbone. Not her tailbone. And Nia kind of winces and then no-sells the roll-up. And Jade, at the end, in my opinion, knows she messed up. She looked very mad at herself.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it on her face right here. She knows she messed up Nia's lower back, and Nia got out of the ring fast from what I saw. So that was just me watching as a layman. So you had like not to jump on anything else. And I know we don't do the ratings quite like we used to, but there were a few botches and miscues on this SmackDown that could have gone really south. This is one of them. I was like, you could have really hurt Nia.
Agreed.
She didn't have her twice. And they're communicating, talking to each other. And then, of course, Alton getting his whole chin would look like split open. And then there was something else I think that happened with the LA Knight thing that I was like, oh my God, you're going to break your leg. Very slapdash. Everyone's safe, of course. They're professionals. But I couldn't help it. That took me out of it. Where I was like, oh man, they're trying not to hurt each other. Right.
Naomi comes in afterwards for the attack, holds the women's championship up as we go off the air.
I don't hate that. That's fun. Naomi Tiffany would be fantastic.
That would be great. But who knows? Because we got to get through Jade and Nia Jax's #1 contendership match first, but we shall see. Well, that brings us to the end of a pretty okay Raw and SmackDown this week. But now let's get into this because WWE pulled the TNA where we only have 2 real full weeks to build for Backlash. Let me just change this real quick.
That's Randy from years ago, isn't it? That's not recent Randy.
Right. I was like, the Photoshop is crazy on this.
That's Legend Killer Randy. That's Randy from 20 years ago.
For reals. Alrighty, so I have just sent the Google Doc to...
Oh, this is it. All right. It's a new year. I got to get out of the onesie.
So this is the first official of the 2025-2026 season of predictions. The professor lost the 2024-2025.
Which, by the way, do I have to pick a onesie or are you guys picking one? Because
I'm going to pick one. I'm going to pick for you.
Okay.
And you will text me your size later.
Just don't go to that Coyote onesie site. I know you.
Oh, do it now. You have to. You said, don't do this. Now he has to. It's like, please don't. It's like,
now I got to write like Professor Reigning Onesie Champion. That's what I got to do? All right.
Yes.
I will customize it and everything.
I earned it. That's me.
Alrighty. So we are going to quickly make our Backlash predictions right now. There's only 4 matches. Would not be surprised if we get one more. WWE pulled the TNA where we have only 2 weeks between the next 2 pay-per-views. So we had WrestleMania, and now we literally turned it around like 2 weeks later. Oh, we have Backlash. So let's get into these matches. So, all right, let's start with this first one. I don't really care about this one. Pat McAfee versus Gunther.
Gunther's winning no matter what henchman they pull out, unless it's some weird DQ thing, right?
It's going to be a DQ thing, and I think it's still going to be favoring Gunther, no matter which way we look at this, because I would love Pat to win this. I would love Pat to,
Really?
I like Pat McAfee. Remember,
no, I don't dislike Pat McAfee. You think it's better for wrestling if Pat McAfee wins?
No. I just like Pat McAfee. Like I want him to win it because it would be cool. Because I don't like the way they did this. I don't like the story they were trying to tell.
Sure.
It did not make sense to me. It did not seem safe to me. I don't like this. No matter which way you cut it, it's going to be some type of fuckery, and it's going to end in a DQ. It's probably going to side towards Gunther, but that is what it is.
That's kind of my take too. I don't dislike Pat. I kind of hate his guests, but he's grown on me. He still kind of drives me nuts. This should have been a whole host of other folks that aren't being used. Gunther could do anything, and you're doing this with Gunther. Nah. Yeah. But if it's Goldberg, I'm gonna laugh. So that's fine.
We'll see what you and your Nostradamus picks. So now we get into the matches that I actually care about. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know which way to go because on the one hand, I want Lyra to retain, but I can also see I feel like it would be funner storytelling for Lyra to chase Becky, but I don't know. I'm going with Becky here. I think. Yeah, I'm going to go with Becky.
I think they'll do Becky. I think they're shady enough to make her a pseudo-transitional championship to give her something to fight for. I think they let her taste it for the year. They gave her a little bit of the arc. So now if she wins it again, she can be 2-time, whatever. She's fantastic. She's great. I don't know her as well as I should, but the last few matches I've gotten to watch her, I really, really like what she's doing. I think they're going to play the long game. They'll put it on Becky. They'll make Becky heel for a year, and then we'll do something cool at next WrestleMania.
Could be. It should be fun. Fantastic. And you know what? If Becky has it, then you can have Bayley and her fight for it. That'd be a feud I would love to see. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. She was gone for almost a year or maybe longer, injury and family and mom stuff. They had to convince her to come back. The Seth's going the heel route. She's going the heel route. I think that's fun.
Yeah. So yeah, I got Becky here. Should be fun. Okay. Next up, the match that I'm actually really excited about. What do you mean? Excuse me.
You forgot someone.
He didn't pick.
You didn't ask me. I agree with the two of you because it is going to be I think it is going to be a Becky win with Kira Chase. There's going to be like kind of like a beef there, and then there's going to be a rivalry. It's going to end up. I want to say it's going to end up in a 3-way. I think it might end up that way, but it's going to be a Becky win.
Yes. So we all got Bex. We got big time Bex here, so should be fun. Now, I'm excited for this match. This is going to be an absolute car crash of a match. I'm here for it, though. Fatal 4-way for United States Championship. Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. Professor, who you got?
I'm not saying I'm not excited for it because I like all four of them. I'm a big fan of all four of them. I'm not excited for it because it's too easy. It's a short build up, and Fatu's winning, right? Like you're not gonna do him that dirty. He got it, then lose it 3 weeks later, right? You can't do that. It doesn't make sense to give the title to any of the other ones, right? LA Knight maybe, but you just had him drop the title so that he could do other things, in my opinion. Maybe McIntyre, because I can't remember which one's the only one he doesn't have. Maybe McIntyre. Damian Priest, maybe, but I think you want bigger things for him. Fatu's the one that's kind of earned it, and you want this to ride, especially if you want this Solo Fatu, whatever. It doesn't make sense for Solo to screw him and then him to drop the title here. It makes more sense for Fatu to win, catching Solo, trying to screw him or whatever. And then you build that for whatever's next. I think you got to keep it on Fatu. And I'm not saying this isn't going to be fun. It's potentially a match of the night thing. I'm a little meh on how they've created this. Oh, yeah? You want it? You have it. Nah.
Yeah, I also have Jacob here. Kill, who you got?
I also have Jacob as well. My thought process, you're talking about, it's going to be a dirty match, I think. Like, as you said, Solo's going to try to interfere to help Jacob. Jacob catches Solo doing it. It's going to be a breakup moment, which might lead to a bloodline rule or a bloodline match like Solo and Roman had.
Tribal rules, whatever.
Tribal rules. That's what I was. I'm going that direction.
Yeah, we made fun of those a lot. That's why I remember.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like now, honestly, I'm excited about this because I think I want 15 minutes. Don't give me 10. I need them to give me 15 minutes. Like, just have everybody fight each other. And honestly, I think this could potentially give us our roads to SummerSlam for a lot of these folks.
Sure.
Like you said, with, Solo and Jacob being SummerSlam. I'm putting this out here right now. Money in the Bank this year. We're literally going to be in Los Angeles. How can you not have LA Knight win in LA?
That's actually a really good point.
And then you have Damian and Drew continue their fight and just ante up the stakes. Like,
that's a good point, though.
So the crazy thing is that the mid card has better storyline potentials than the main roster, than like your main championship cards. But we get into the final match as of right now, being touted as one last time. Heel John Cena defending his undisputed WWE championship against the hometown hero in Randall Keith Orton. And Randy's promo has made me I think this is going to be a fun match. It makes me a little more excited. I still got John Cena winning this one. I don't think Cena's losing this title.
I don't think it makes sense here. I don't think it's going to be clean at all. They're going to keep Randy looking strong in St. Louis. They're going to make John look even more heel as we get closer to it. If this is John Cena's last year, sorry, I'm thinking this far ahead. I have to think farther ahead now because I've made so many of my picks based on my heart and I've just gotten rocked every single time. I think if you want John retired by the end of the year, I don't think he wants to retire face. I think he just wanted to taste what it was like to be heel for a while. So he's going to be a face by the end of the year. I think you got to keep the title on him a little bit longer. He might do something devastating and ridiculous here. And then we start to see the turn of, oh my God, what have you become by the time we get to SummerSlam? And then maybe by Survivor Series, you pull the trigger on, wait, he's a face now, or whatever that turn is. It makes no sense to take it off of Cena here. Right, which makes me sad because we basically know all the endings for Backlash.
Yeah,
how are you going to get there?
I think what's not helping Backlash this year. I mean, the last couple of Backlashes were also kind of predictable, but I think what made them more enjoyable is the fact that the last 2 years Backlash has been international. And no shade to St. Louis. I don't know y'all like that, but
St. Louis, man.
At least it's not Georgia, because remember that? Remember when we had a Georgia pay-per-view?
That was Savannah, and it was terrible. I agree with you. I think Backlash should be international forever. The thing that the Backlash trend of the last 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, it's matches where we go, oh, really? But then you go, oh my God, how did they pull that off? Right? Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, AJ Styles comes to mind. There's a few others I'd have to go back in the memory banks. So for me, I don't know which one of these it is because I'm sort of meh on all of them. which one's going to go, oh my God, that's a match of the year candidate that I was not expecting. Kilt has thoughts.
Yes, Kilt has the thoughts. Kilt, who you got and your thoughts?
My thoughts is going to be a dirty win for John Cena because they're not going to take it off of him this early. They're going to probably wait to SummerSlam or closer towards the end of the year to remove the title from him at all. Randy is something's going to happen. He's probably going to go on like either an injury reserve for a little bit, probably take a vacation, just relax and enjoy himself. I don't know, but Randy's not winning this. It's going to be Cena. There's going to be some fuckery afoot. I swear to God, if they bring out Travis Scott, I'm punching someone. Seriously, that was such a stupid part of the storyline.
Oh, you want to hear something even crazier?
Go ahead.
There's a rumor that Travis and John Cena will have a tag team match later this year.
I will quit wrestling.
Why is he here?
Listen, I'm not here for it either. But when I tell you who the two they will be facing up with, I'm like, as long as they win, that'd be even more funner for me. So it has been proposed that John Cena and Travis Scott would take on Cody and Bad Bunny. So listen, Travis Scott, not here for it as a wrestler. However, he did sell beautifully at the Crossroads at Mania, but that was a stupid part of the story too. However, if that means we could see Bad Bunny be hitting people all over the place, I'm not mad at it because we have seen that Bad Bunny is actually fantastic. But this is going to be a weird summer. I'm feeling it.
I hate rich influencer culture buying their way into entertainment culture things, right? It's really hard for me. It just, maybe I'm just old. Maybe it's not for me anymore. Maybe my time passed.
Hey, but it's okay. Listen, you vote with your heart.
And
here, Professor, let me give you a secret of how I do these prediction leagues. Yes, I have to vote with logic, but there are some times where you got to vote with your heart. But you got to find a balance between all of that. You can't go all logic because then it takes the fun out of racing, the predictions, and wrestling. But all heart also does not get you anywhere too. It is okay, trust me. But yeah, John Cena, I don't see him losing the championship here. We have a commenter in the chat, Hassan Terrell, who votes for Randy Orton. And honestly, Randy being champion would be fantastic. I just don't think right now is the time. And
I don't hate that.
Belated happy birthday to you, my friend, as well.
Happy birthday, man. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit. Yeah, I don't hate them giving it to Randy. I don't think that's impossible. And if I'm wrong, great. Fine. Right now, I'm just doing the safe pick. For him, it could be possible that this is a long-term thing. Hey, I want to drop the title to you in St. Louis one time, or this and this, and give you a moment, this and that. Is it Randy chasing 17, knowing he's probably got a few more years than Cena does? Does John want to set Randy up for that? Could be possible because they're friends that go back 25 years or whatever else. I will be very happy if he does. I don't think John Cena wants to hold the title for 2 weeks.
It's never fun having to talk about, releases and stuff like that. But hey, you know what? With wrestling, we here at BC Wrestle Pod, our mission is to vibe out with wrestling and report on the good and the bad. So it is something that we do. But that is going to be it for us here at Dual Dynasty. Before we leave, though, let's preview the remainder of this week. It is Sunday. This is the first review of the week. So let's see how the rest of the week is going to go for all of us. So first and foremost, let me get this. We kick things off after today's review with this upcoming Tuesday. We have the Olite Ensemble review where myself, JVL, and reviewing this week in AEW as we cover, a Dynamite and Collision that was pretty fun. And we are building towards Double or Nothing at the end of this month. So it's getting kind of hectic and crazy out here. So again, we cover everything here at, BC Wrestle Pod. So if you are a person that went to this one, because this one is going to be a lot of fun. And honestly, it is a great time for sure. And honestly, it is a lot of fun. So please do so because we really want you to be here because it is great and everything. And we'd love to have you. So that is Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, you get a double dose of reviews because first up, the sexiest NXT review show out there on the internet, NXT Losos, is now back and in full effect. Myself, Will, and hopefully Macho will be back to review NXT. We going to talk about more in depth about the NXT releases this Tuesday, and then also cover the episode in which we are building towards Battleground at the end of the month for NXT. So that should be fun. And then later on in the evening, 8 p.m. Pacific, Los is in full effect as we cover another episode of CMLL, and we will be covering the special MLW versus CMLL show that we just had. It was a lot of fun. We have new champions. It is great. On Thursday, you can catch myself and my lovely co-host Andrew as part of the Progressive review team here, where we will be reviewing Progress Wrestling's Chapter 180 Super Strong Style 16, the 2-day tournament that so far has been really fun. And I can't wait to talk about the fun announcement that we got at the end of day 1 this morning. It is great. Then on Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific, myself, Adolfo, and Will be here for the MLW CMLL Azteca Lucha watch along, where MLW and CMLL will be colliding in Lucha Libre goodness. It's a sold out show in Chicago, which is a lot of fun. So and the cool thing is that the show is free. You can watch it free on YouTube. So you feel free to watch along with us as we do this live on Saturday night. It's going to be good. And then finally, come back next Sunday as we wrap everything up with another episode of Dual Dynasty, where we will be covering Raw and SmackDown for this upcoming week on the Cinco de Mayo episode, which makes me very afraid that Grande Americano Latte will be doing something problematic. And then we will talk about it and we'll probably love it. Who knows? That is my biggest fear. Tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo, and I was like, all the Latin superstars are just dreading what's about to go down.
I mean, I feel like there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And if Grande Americano is in that satire place, he might be able to pull it off. We'll see.
That is very true. But that is going to be it for us here at Dual Dynasty. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to get up on out of here. So thank you so much for being here. And from all of us here at BC Wrestle Pod, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you for a full fun week of reviews later. But
thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.